Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Weekly Roundup. I have a wide variety of items, so let's start with leaves. We are in the time of year where our leaves are falling, and as a reminder, we have two options for you. You can rake your leaves to the curb, or you can get compostable bags and bag them. We do have bags at the street department, so if you're interested in using those, just give a call or pick some up. But there's both options for you this year. I know I've been asked that question more times than I can count. So rake to the curb or bag in compostable bags. We do try our best to stick to a schedule, so we'll post that schedule on the city website, and I'm sure we'll post about it on social as well. But the weather can throw us off, other work can throw us off, but we do our best to stick to it. So if you're not sure what week you are, check either of those spots. Our proposed city budget coming out of our finance committee is done. We've been working on the budget since like June-ish, and so to now be in October and to have that at least through our finance committee is a huge milestone. It's just still in a proposed format though. The next stop for it is a public hearing, and that's on November 7th. So I would encourage people to either attend virtually or in person and provide your insight. The proposed budget is available on the city website, so you can see the whole proposed budget there. If you have questions, which I assume people would, most people don't look at thousands of lines in an Excel spreadsheet for multiple funds, send us a message or reach out to us and be happy to answer the questions that you have. So proposed budget done, public hearing November 7th. The Cady Street Bridge project is moving along really well. So this is a project that has been run by DOT. They've done a great job thus far. We're hopeful that we'll be able to post like maybe midweek next week the date that will reopen. So just keep an eye on our social media or our press releases to understand when the Cady Street Bridge will open. Again, hopefully next week. The Main Street Bridge project, we're trying one last time to see if we can get anybody that's within our budget to do the necessary repairs to disconnect the Masonic Temple building from the bridge foundation. So that is back out on the street, and we are, I think, around like 10 days or something like that. We'll leave it there, whatever the law requires us to do. And then we'll have an answer on if we have something in budget that will allow us to disconnect the bridge from the building. November really is like the go or no go for 2024 because the state has to put out their bids, and they do that in November. So we should have an answer, hopefully a really positive one within a few weeks. The fire station continues to progress along. We're doing some budget estimates, and so we're hopeful to have like more real life estimates of what this building will cost. Of course, not final numbers, but at least some idea of how close we are by the end of this month. We've hired a construction manager. They've taken our plans and given them to dozens of subcontractors who provide some just general feedback back to kind of help us understand if we're close to being in range or not. Next week at Finance Committee, I think on Monday, it would be on Monday, we are going to be reviewing some additional financing options. So we have an original number where we've tried to stay around. That number is the number that just has the impact of the fire station, assuming all things stay equal into the future with the way we borrow money, and assuming certain conditions. I have to give a million caveats. The fire station would only cost 1 penny more for just a few years. The good news is with our revaluation, and just the improvement in our growth, the new options we'll see next week at Finance bring that penny to like 2 years or 1 year, depending upon which solution or which funding mechanism we choose. So it's all positive news in that way. But if the fire station is of interest to you, I'd encourage you to attend our Finance Committee meeting on Monday, and that's again virtual or in person. We've been talking a whole lot about some annexation in the town of Emmet. So we had a discussion at council this week. I know the town of Emmet is having discussions at their town board meetings. And I think the best way to message at this point is we are continuing to work with the town to evaluate the best way to move forward. We have an agreement from the early 2000s that tells us what we should be doing. We're beginning to put those wheels in motion, but at the same time evaluating the very real life impacts that annexation has. The impacts are predominantly in sewer and water hookup. It's very expensive in certain areas. So if this area that we're looking at annexing is just to the south of Highway 16, kind of between Water Street and Boulder Road. So if you're interested, I'd encourage you to follow along, but just know that we're continuing to evaluate what works the best for the city, and we're being very mindful of the people that it impacts as well. Next week, the Downtown Task Force is going to highlight some initial renderings of ideas. We meet on Wednesday, again, virtual or in person. And it's going to really be the first time we show the task force based on all the feedback we've received over many years. I'm going to say maybe 3 years, 3 or 4 years. All the feedback that we've received is now going to actually come in some renderings that we have provided to the state for the reconstruction of Main Street in 2027. Did I get that date right? 27 or 28. We'll post in the comments what the right date is. So I would encourage you, if you're available, to attend. I think it'll be a really great meeting to be able to get people's feedback, but then we'll also obviously post the renderings once they approve them and we move along the process. Another really exciting one is we are working to build a fully inclusive park. We're working to build that park with the use of no tax dollars, so all grants and donations. We've received a grant to fund the rendering. We've been working with a task force of local residents, people of all abilities and all ages and all needs, to be able to provide feedback on what this space will look like. And we have our meeting, I think, next week to see that final 3D rendering, which I'm super pumped about. We'll then use those renderings to fundraise to build this space. The plan is to rebuild it at Riverside Park at the volleyball courts. So if you're interested, reach out for more information. Otherwise, I'll try to keep people updated here. Also next week, kind of about the same area, at Public Works, they're going to be talking about changing the traffic pattern around Hill Court, which most people probably don't realize where Hill Court is. But if you are between Diamond 2 and the south end of the volleyball courts, there's a little parking lot and a little bridge. That bridge we just did an inspection on, and it has some limitations. And so Public Works is going to be talking about traffic patterns across that bridge. So if you live in that area or you frequent that area, that may be something for you to keep your eye on. Next week, Thursday, from 10:30 to 12, the health department is doing a walk-in flu clinic. There's a variety of doses based on your age and a variety of payment options based upon your age and in your insurance type. So go to our Facebook post. There's a ton of information there. We've had a wonderful week this week of meeting with a variety of housing developers. We met very specifically with 5 different developers this week, all that are talking about housing projects in 2 different areas. And we're hopeful we'll be able to have another really good conversation with a 6th housing developer that's in a completely separate area next week, one we've been working with for several months. All to say, these conversations are continuing to move forward. They take a lot of time, but in the end, they are worth it. So I just wanted to make sure that I continue to provide you an update on that work, because until you see a shovel in the ground, which for some of these is a year away, if not more, I don't think people always necessarily know the work that goes into getting us to this point. So 5 different developers this week, so all good news. On the recreation front, they are doing a blood drive next week. That's on Thursday the 26th. We're also advertising for our Decorated Tree program. This is one of the events we'll have at the square this holiday season. This is an opportunity for area businesses, I think just 9 of them, to showcase their business on a tree in the square. Halloween Hoopla is next week. That's on the 25th. That's a fun Halloween event for families. Little Dunkers and ballet and dance are also up right now for registration. On the adult side, we're doing adult exercise classes and the fall photo contest. They're also doing a senior Halloween party at the Senior and Community Center that'll have crafts, a potluck, music, I think a movie actually. So lots of good activities for all the holidays that are coming up through our recreation department. One of my favorites, which is the Christmas tree lighting, that is going to be on November 16th, so please pencil that date in. It's just a magical night in this city, and I'm looking forward to that one. But before that, I think next Thursday and Friday for the public school system and probably other schools as well is No School. So the rec department is opening the indoor pool for No School, open pool, very catchy. That's going to be from 12 to 4. So activities for you next week. And the library is also doing a teen pumpkin carving contest. So lots going on, a lot of opportunities to engage. On the job front, we are still hiring for a director of public works, a water distribution technician, and then this weekend the Police and Fire Commission will be interviewing candidates for the police chief's replacement. So that recruitment's moving along. We still, part-time wise, are looking for crossing guards and then recreation instructors. So we have a lot going on this weekend, more than I can report, but I'm going to say it's safe to assume it's Fall Fest time. We have area farms doing Fall Fest. We have local businesses doing Fall Fest. There's a concert series. a detail that I can't share with you here, but you know that it's always on Watertown Tourism. And then I also took a look, and we have a new book out at the Storybook Trail. So lots to do this weekend. Before I give you my send-off, I have to give a shout out to my team that's standing in this room. Today is Community Media Day, and none of this happens without them. So nothing on YouTube, Facebook, the cable TV channel, none of the press releases that we write or the posts that we make or the website that we manage happens without them. And they're a small but mighty team, and they provide tons of transparency and information for this city. So if you see our media team, give them a shout out. And to all the community people across the state, congratulations on this day. It's incredible. You provide a lot of value to our cities. So have a good weekend. We'll see you back next week.